Hello viewers, and welcome to Return to Art with Jonathan Art. I'm your host, Jonathan Art. I'm very excited to be returning, and what I have for you this time is a game with a very promising store page description that will be appearing on screen presently. The game is called OVIVO, and in the world of OVIVO, black and white exist in harmony. So, immediately you can tell it's art, because they wasted no time deploying that line. I'm not going to go through the entire description, but there is one particular section that sort of represents why I, Jonathan Art, was immediately summoned upon the discovery of this game. And that is where the store page describes OVIVO as a metaphorical world where you overcome dangers and collect mysterious symbols. These symbols will help you unravel the story of this world, but how you interpret it is completely up to you. The description later goes on to describe the world of OVIVO as allegorical. Now, what they seem to be presenting here is the idea that this game is purely a Rorschach test. There is no inherent meaning in anything that you are about to see, and you are supposed to sort of impose your own meaning onto it. Which is not how Allegory works. If I'm reading this correctly, if I'm correctly understanding the hook of this game, then this description is contradicting itself. The world has no story to unravel. It's an ink blot. It's supposed to be as close to visual gibberish as something that has been deliberately designed can be, so that you can then put your own meaning onto it. But that's your meaning. That's meaning that you've derived. It's not the game doing that. Again, if I'm reading this correctly, the visual language of this game is not supposed to mean anything. And the meaning that you get from it is just you and your brain seeing patterns where they don't actually exist, or at the very least where they weren't intended. And that's not an allegory. An allegory is a representation of something. You are presenting us with something that you say represents nothing, and then expecting the player to do the legwork of attaching meaning to it. You can't claim that that's allegorical. That's one of two possibilities. The other possibility is, to be honest, more likely, and it's that this is essentially that old chestnut of, well, we're just presenting you with ideas. You know, we're not trying to say anything specifically, we're just presenting you with the ideas and you can draw your own conclusions. But we'll still happily take fucking credit for those conclusions. It's allegory, son! Either way, the message of this description seems to be, we're not trying to say anything in particular, but we'll happily accept credit for being deep nonetheless. Now, in fairness, this could just be a communication error. It could be that something's gotten lost in translation. Perhaps the person saying all of this of OVIVO does not necessarily know what these words that they are using mean, which does not strictly conjure a more optimistic vision of how this experience is going to go. But I remain intrigued. Either way, I'm fascinated to see how this turns out. This is, joking aside, I am actually very interested in the idea that this is presenting. I am very much interested in the idea of a game that presents itself as an interactive Rorschach test. Josh Rivers, the man who I am usually, did write a piece on Indie Haven titled Art is a Rorschach Test. At least I think that was what the title was. I may have to check that. It was quite a while ago. And that article is about how typically when you experience a piece of art, it will usually tell you more about yourself than it will about the person who made it. Because people understand the world around them through the context of their own experiences. Like the patterns they see and the connections they make will be based on what they have experienced, what they have learned thus far. That's why two different people can look at the same thing and see two completely different things from each other, because different things will mean different things to different people. It's a very interesting subject to me, and you honestly have no idea how much I am fighting myself right now not to just ramble about this for another 20 minutes. There may be a video on Indie Haven as a result of this, just so I can get all my thoughts out. But the point is, conceptually, I'm into it. I am very much into the idea of a game being like, here's a bunch of symbols and images. What does this mean to you? You know, let's talk about you through the medium of what we've made here. The game description I've just read gives me the impression that this may not be that. But we shall see. We will be going through this together, and I shall be seeing what meaning I can derive from the imagery of OVIVO. Now, as someone with a psychotic disorder, I have a predisposition towards seeing patterns and connections in things, so if I can't derive anything from this, you fucked up. So, without further ado, let us prepare to experience art. The Ouroboros, or something else. Sometimes I what? Oh. Cube. Good. I'm glad. What can we derive from this cube?
Oval. Oh.
Huh. We're just at... Whoa! Okay, we're straight into it. It would appear like there was no title screen. We're just sort of a sphere. There's a thing. Okay, so we're not meant to go there. We get a circle, and then we go. Okay. It is too steep to overcome, like the challenges in our lives. And we must, cognitively speaking, flip upside down into the ground where there is a second plane of existence. And change colour and do that. Ah yes, the art. The art's all coming back to me now. There's some gumption there, and I'm not sure what to do about it. I guess the gumption's just the gumption's. Whoa! It gumped. I'm sad to report it gumped, but it seems to have been. Ooh. Ah! I perceive that as an alien face. Is the mistake I've made there. I thought I could. I want to interact with the gumption. Oh, no one can touch the gumption. Can I invert when I'm falling, or is that just... Am I dreaming? Oh, Spike-o. Does Spyco present problem? Will I be beset by difficulty if I attempt to? I needn't find out. Stop wiggling the wrong way. Oh, Scrunch. Okay, you can sort of squunch into the side. I think as long as you're... Okay, so it will register that you've pressed the button, but the gravity does not invert until you actually... I want to draw a little squiggly mouth under that. Oh, I'm inside some art. I don't like it. Should be honoured. This is very high concept. Oh, and you have a third eye. Excellent. Sausage. Aha. I feel like I'm possibly flying into the... Okay, so you can just fall to your death. Which is a thing in a lot of art. It's a comment about... So there's no way back, strictly. Because it looked like there were things the other way, but now that I know that there are just death pits, maybe that's all it was. In the other direction, but... It's a commentary on something. The path we choose is good. There's a lot of fun sort of squiggles. We're a snack. We have become the eye of a little snacky worm. Next to that abomination. Give me your dots. They seem to be checkpoints. Or something else. Oh, there's claws reaching out of the ground. Oh, okay. Ah, yes. You know, I didn't process it visually at the time, but those white protrusions, those are spikes as well, from my perspective. I could only see the fun monster hand. Because the image was so set in my vision, I became incapable of seeing anything else. Now that I look at it, the white section... I'm not quite sure how to describe it in words, but, you know... You have to trust me, it's there. Maybe you can see it too, maybe you can't. I may have endeavoured to help you. Oh, you've made me... You've made me, and you can destroy me. Let me in your... Right. Aha! It's a physics puzzle. It's all physics here. We're a squishy little dot. What are you doing? What's your function? It's just sort of squunging. Aha. Ooh. A squablo becomes a doublo and does a twisty woo. Such is life. What? Okay, hang on. This requires interrogation. Oh, it's very nearly the end of me. Right. Let us consider for a moment. It's not letting me get a good angle on this, and that is frankly hateful of them. Look, right, look. Look at it. That represents me in most of my life. Oh dear. Highly relatable. 10 out of 10. We're in a little squunk. And now we have the bunk. It's talking about how the moon's up there, but underground we have some sort of big rock. And a paperclip. Yeah. Sure. Why not? So we weren't able to interact with most of this. Like you can see very clearly the section that was our path. But we just turned into a diamond, sort of, before we could even hit most of this. So this seems to be just sort of a representation of the two worlds being presented, the white one and the black one. And the moon's in one of them, attached to a string. It's a gooey moon. And the other one... To be honest, the other one looks like nothing. It just sort of looks like there's a... Honestly, it just looks like a different moon. There's two moons. There is no sun. The sun is a metaphor. I've just noted this, fella. I've just taken note of you. Goodness. Goodness only knows. Anyway. That's what I get from it. This to me is just a literal description of the sort of conceit of this world. So, nothing much to... Ooh. Okay. I guess that one, because it's there, and this boy's trying to eat his own self. Oh, Drippy Drippo. Represents decay. The structural integrity is falling apart. Life as we knew it is a whoopee woo. Look at him whooping. Do the droppos cause grievances at all? No, they don't really. They pass through you. You do not feel it as the world falls apart around you. It's commentary on privilege. Get ready for a lot of this, by the way, if you're not familiar with the art of art. This is more or less the point. Oh, well, no, I'm squooshing incorrectly. It's not a position anyone wants to be in, but it's a position that I find myself in almost every day. The incorrect squooshes of time. Let me take your eyes. The ambient music's very nice. They did advertise the ambient music. They're quite proud of that particular feature. Whoa, dude, squiggle eye ho. Nah. So we're like a little bomb or something. We've got a fuse. Or an antenna or something. Wiggly, 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 wiggly. One does wonder what the point of that is, and I suppose it's to indicate motion, because otherwise it's just a circle moving about, and it's not that's not anything to look at really. So it's like this sort of makes it better for looking. There's a Scrunch. Oh, don't tell me I've missed my opportunity for Scrunch. I want the Scrunch. Gimme your Scrunch. We got a strand of DNA coming unravelled. Again, things decaying, falling apart. The integrity of the structure. We need structure in our lives. But sometimes it gets all drippy, and our DNA splits in half. Oh, give me your dots. Give me them. Yeah. No. You gotta be real careful. You need to utilize the physics in order to make your way into the Wimbly Woo of extracurricular grievance. Let me in your shape. Surely there is a way into this shape. Ah, thought you could keep me out of your shape. No dice, Mourinho. There's a fun symbol. It's literally just some lines. There really is nothing to be derived from that one. No, we've fallen off the Scrunch again. Snoot. Seeing a lot of snoots in this world. This could be a fun and engaging part of the game. There we go. You gotta use the things that you do to be... No. Sounding slightly haggard. You're in the Scrunch. In the tunnels of your squinch. Always look for the wump. None of this is anything that I'm saying. But then again, you were probably prepared for that. One of the bubbles got ideas above its station there. There's no way to know. The things that bubble in the distance, you can't have, is what I'm learning. Can I? Aha! Oh, what about this one, Mary? I don't think you know how to crochet. Get in the crescents. The croissants allow you to ascend in a way that only pastry can. So they've done us a lot of shapes, but they're not. That's about all we've seen so far. Sometimes they get drippy shapes, sometimes just squoopy shapes. This one's a bit spiral. Oh, that went through the universe there. To enable us to have a fun time. Well, I suppose this way, because it's the way that... Oh, it's turning into worms. Oh, someone's eye's fallen out. Complete with viscera. At least that's my read on it. Yours may be different. Which is the point. Sprunk. Sprum. Bottle tops. Oh, go, Groot. Wait, where are we now in relation to that? Do we go... I think we're not that far back, but it made it look like it was very far. Okay. We've made it through the squoof. Aha! And now we're in the roof. So that way, I'm guessing, is just death. You must always be wary when you're traversing the shapes, because it's not geometry you'd walk on normally, and so it's very difficult to determine where anything is. If you think about it, because this is going to pan out and it's going to be like a fun image at the end. We are traversing art right now. Oh, the squid! I didn't press anything. Does the bubbly scrumptious compel you to not be? Yes, it does. You can't exist. Yeah, why not? I'll just leave that sentence there. Wow, there's more of them. You gotta be wary of it changes for you. The choice is not yours when you're in the spheres. Oh, the scryme. Let's see what it's all about then. Oh, I've been an idiot. Oh no, it's fine. That's the droopy uvula of... I'm just kind of seeing hell creatures in this. There's a bunch of squish drooping around. There's some sort of Cthulhu fella there. That does what we ended in does look like the uvula of some sort of real squiggly fella. This would appear to be hell. This is what hell is. It's just squiggly flupo, and you go into the side for a bit there. On the right, you can see where we've been. You traverse through the Scruncho bubbles that take away your agency, rob you of your choice. And you're in the mouth of hell, and Cthulhu looks at you. Fun fact about Cthulhu, it goes straight from shoulders to legs. And he's got one wing. Or perhaps just a foot that is joined to his cheek. But you know, that's how it is. That's how it is in the world of Wibbly Woo, which we're in now, clearly. So we'll call that episode 1. Thank you for joining me, and we shall see you next time on the next episode of Return to Art with Jonathan Art, where it's going to be more of this, pretty much. So look forward to that.